What was the dumbest thing you ever did to try and impress a girl or guy? I was in New Zealand, was going to a beach party with some girls from the hostel I was staying at. To get to the party, you needed to take a $2 ferry across this inlet, which was about 1 kilometer wide. I decided to swim it to impress the ladies. About halfway through, I realized that I'm slowly being swept out to sea, and I'm losing strength. I'm not sure how, but eventually I made it to the other shore, about 100 meters away from the pier. The ferry had docked about 2 to 3 minutes before me, and I just nonchalantly walked over to meet the girls as if I hadn't swum against a current to near exhaustion and was swept out to sea. Good side, it worked, and I ended up hooking up with one of the ladies. Bad side, the $2 was for a round trip, and I still had to pay $2 to get back once the party was over. I tried to do a backflip. I've never actually done a backflip before, not even on a trampoline. I actually would up just jumping backwards and hitting my head hella hard on the ground, and then I woke up and threw up a bunch. If she ever had a thing for me, which all my friends said she did, it was gone that day. I was abroad in Dominican Republic. They had a dance competition on a stage. Anyone could enter, and it had around 200 people watching. I was about 9 to 10-ish, and spotted a cute girl who must have been around 14 to 15. So, obviously, I decided the best way to get her attention was to get up on stage and dance my heart out. Cue 3 minutes of awkward shuffling while maintaining constant eye contact with that girl and horrified looks from my parents. The coordinator cut me off early by pretending the speaker stopped working. I got a pity clap. When I was a teen, I took Taekwondo classes, and there were 2 beautiful girls around my age. They liked to go and have a smoke behind them all before class, and I wanted to be cool and impress them, so I took up smoking too. It was about 2 weeks in when one girl came to class early, so I went and had a smoke with her. Then the next girl came in and wanted to have a smoke, so I went and had another one with her. When we came back, we started doing our warm-up laps, and I felt very queasy. I had to throw up, so ran outside, right next to the Dairy Queen. I threw up all over the glass wall where the cashiers and several people eating looked on in horror. I bought a hedgehog off someone to give to her, but her parents said no. I ended up keeping him, and he was the sweetest boy, lived for 7 years. On a 4th of July date after going out to dinner, I took her out on the lake in a canoe to watch the fireworks. It was awesome. Young macho me, of course, turned down her offer of help with a large canoe, and I manhandled that thing like it was nothing. Put her in it while it was on the grass, and continued manhandling it to show off just how strong I was. The next morning, I had to call in to work sick because my back muscles were so strained I couldn't get out of bed. My back was sore for over a week. Getting up from the bleachers to play dodgeball in PE class, I tried to pull my sweatpants off while yelling, "Let's do this." Ended up yanking off everything, boxers and all. I lied and said I had experience in journalism because I didn't think we'd have anything except a brief encounter, when I'd actually only taken 1 class in college. Our first date, he took me with to report on a local clash between police and citizens, and I got tear-gassed and robbed. Tried to backflip from a 5-meter diving board. There was no flipping involved, just me falling on my back into a pool from 5 meters high. Shit didn't feel good. Don't know which one was more bruised, my back or my ego. Ran into a busy road and picked up a hedgehog. Wasn't run over, but my hands stung for a week. Did a backflip from a tree about 5 feet up. Landed it, but the ground was slippery, and I used my hands to catch me falling backwards and broke my wrist. 10th grade me, you were a fucking moron. Tried to razor scooter down the steepest hill around. Crashed into the back of a funeral hearse and shattered the back window. There was a body inside, and the family was outside, waiting to either go to the cemetery or take the coffin inside. I got up, covered in blood and glass, grabbed my scooter and hobbled away to the nearest alleyway. Started smoking. Wanted to look cool and have an excuse to talk to her. It worked, but we only dated for a couple of months. Biggest mistake of my life. I made sure I was the one to return her jacket when she forgot it at school. When I gave it back to her the next morning, she blamed me for stealing it. We didn't end up together. The guy I was seeing went on a vacation with his family for 2 weeks, and I had the key to his place to feed his cat. While he was gone, I painted his bathroom. He thought it was weird, but seemed mostly okay with it. But it worked. He married me in October. In elementary school, when I walked by this girl I liked, I would pretend to chew gum and crack my knuckles, because I thought I'd look cool. Jesus. Not really dumb, but kind of funny to look back on now. I wasn't good at sports, but I was fairly quick, so I joined the track team to impress a girl. Turns out, the girl wasn't impressed by runners, but I did end up going to state in the 100-meter dash and placing second. When I was 15, I dropped a heavy book on my head. It was this old dictionary, a single volume that was easily 8 inches thick and probably weighed 15 pounds. I laid down on the floor, held it over my head with my arms fully extended, and dropped it the 1.5 feet right onto my forehead. I guess I thought it would show how tough I was. I was not tough. It sort of worked because I dated her until freshman year of college, but that was likely in spite of my actions and not because of them. Take up smoking in high school. Didn't get the guy, and it took 15 years for me to quit smoking. Haven't been a smoker for almost 7 years now. Quitting smoking was one of the hardest things I've done. I tried to jump through a swing. The plan was to go headfirst through, do a somersault on the other side, and look super cool. I smoked my face on the wooden seat. I've posted this before, but still funny to me. Dating a gymnast in high school. We go to a park, and I see parallel bars that are designed for stretching, but I'm convinced I can do a handstand on them because I'm awesome. She keeps insisting they are too far apart, but I don't listen. Attempt said handstand. They were indeed too far apart, so I collapsed down, jamming my chest past my hands and strained all the ligaments holding my chest muscles to my breastbone. Good times were not had later, or for a long while after. I was alone in a park in front of my house. I was standing by the monkey bars just fooling around. I was around 10 at the time. I see a group of around 5 girls cycling towards me, all about 16 years old. Thinking I can impress them, I jump on the monkey bar, still looking at them to show off. Turns out, completely missed the bars. Fell from a 6-foot wooden playground flat on the face. Teeth through my lip, crying and everything. They ran over, asked me where I lived, and carried me home. They were really sweet about it, but it was pretty embarrassing for me. Embarrassing to admit, but the only time I truly tried to impress a girl was in primary school when I was about 10 or 11. I would swear when she was near and always gave the impression I didn't give a fuck. Backfired though. She just ended up thinking I had anger and behavioral issues. I actually got one. I was 14, totally fully in love with this girl from my class. Gotta add, we kind of flirted for a whole year but got nowhere. She was the kind of girl who likes attention, so you can imagine how she kept me hooked up, knowing I had no chance. Since it was getting close to Valentine's Day, I decided I was going to impress her and make her mine by learning how to play guitar and all her favorite songs. A whole week practicing like a madman, and actually learned 2 songs I knew she loved. So fully prepared and convinced I'd hit jackpot, on the 14th, I go to her house, call her out telling her I had a surprise. She pops her head out of the door, sees me and my guitar and nopes the fuck out of there, telling me to leave. Hey, at least I now know how to play a guitar. I intentionally threw multiple games of Uno to let a girl think she was amazing at the game. My sophomore year of high school, I asked a girl out on Valentine's Day by having red, pink, and white carnations delivered to her homeroom. I walked by her homeroom, and my buddy gave me the negative head shake. Already disappointed, she came out and told me she had a boyfriend and asked me if understood. She kept on repeating, "Do you understand?" repeatedly. In retrospect, I probably had the deer in headlights look on my face. The worst part was that I was pretty confident about her saying yes and had told all my friends about it. The train ride home that afternoon was pure hell, as my friends razzed me non-stop for the entire ride. In my defense, she had invited me to her birthday party a few weeks before, and her boyfriend wasn't there and he wasn't brought up at all. So yeah, to say I was gun shy after that would be a major understatement. I was the first high schooler she knew who got my license. I drove us to hang out with friends of hers. Mostly guy friends. I guess she was trying to date one of them. Watch TV shows, then pretend to like them because they did. I never want to think about Supernatural ever again. This past year, I threw a fairly large college house party just so the guy I liked could attend. I didn't want to show him too much favoritism, so I tried to run around and talk to everyone as I was the main host. Luckily, my best friend kept him company and acted as my faithful wing woman. The night ended with me and my crush talking outside, getting closer and closer, until he asked me if I threw the party for him. Even being drunk didn't soften the blow of straight awkwardness. I tried to laugh it off and deflect, but I'm a terrible actor, LOL. Looking back, it was kind of obvious the entire party was an excuse to see him, and I now understand why I liked reading The Great Gatsby so much in high school.